Welcome back to Toffee Blues, your source for all things Everton. I'm Ollie Hayes, and today I'm reading the player ratings for Accrington Stanley 1, Everton 1, our first pre-season outing at the Wham Stadium, ended in stalemate. Not reading too much into this result, obviously. It's always disappointing not to get the victory against a League Two side, but again, it's the first outing of pre-season, so it was good just to get some minutes in the legs and kickstart our pre-season campaign. But we'll start in goal with Harry Tyra, who started in goal. I'm going to give him a 7. I think he made some decent saves, was quick in his distribution at times to both fullbacks, and I think he looked calm under moments where he was found in a little bit of pressure. So again, I think I said this in my pre-season preview. I think Harry Tower will massively benefit from a loan. There's no point of him sat in third position in Everton's depth squad for goalkeeper, obviously with the signing of Mark Travers too. So I think Harry Tower will massively benefit from maybe a Championship or a League One loan. Given the circumstances, I think he looked really calm, really assured, made some very decent saves, and maybe was a little bit disappointing in terms of not saving the goal. But he's human, he's young, he's a young goalkeeper, and I think he had a fantastic game. So a 7 for Harry Tyra for me. But now moving into the back four, we'll start with Vitaly Mykolenko, our new number 16, not number 19, which is what I noticed last night. Give Vitaly Mykolenko a 6. He had a relatively uneventful first half, and it was only 45-minute stint for him in this game. Showed a little bit more competence going forward than maybe what we've seen in previous seasons. Getting in behind, I think he's showing now that he has got the ability to go forward. Maybe that's just been muted in recent seasons playing under Sean Dyche. But maybe I think that's something that David Moyes is looking to get out of him a little bit more. So every credit to him. I think he had a decent performance for that 45 minutes last night. But as I said before, relatively uneventful in terms of defence. But going forward a little bit more and showing a little bit more competence and a little bit more impetus to go forward. But elsewhere, we'll go to Jared Branthwaite now, and I'll give him a 6. He actually captained the side for the evening. Well, for the first 45 minutes, that is. Again, uneventful. Did absolutely nothing wrong. Dealt well with the things that was played to him, and when required to, he was pretty assured. That's all there is really to say about Jared Branthwaite. I think it was a solid 45 minutes, and as I said at the start of the video, it's just good to get the legs going again and begin our pre-season campaign. But elsewhere, I'll go to Michael Keane, his centre-back partner. I'll actually give Michael Keane a 7. I thought he was decent and stayed calm and consistent throughout the game. A few good recovery tackles where he probably was a little bit disappointed to let the ball go past him, but he made up for it with some decent recovery tackles and some decent strides forward as well. We've seen in recent seasons that Michael Keane is no stranger to a shot at goal or getting forward, and I think he showed last night that he can like to do that. So yeah, I'll give Michael Keane a 7. I think he was pretty consistent throughout the game and put in a pretty decent performance. But moving to right back now, well, right back for the first half, it's Nathan Patterson, and I give him a 7 as well, and then he moved to left back for the second half. I give Nathan Patterson a 7. I think he was unlucky not to score in each half. In the first half, he dragged the shot well wide. He probably should have scored. And then in the second half, very late on in the game, he blazed one into that uncovered Everton away end behind the goal, which was safe to say that it was pretty drenched by full time. But he tried his hardest to get forward. Nathan Patterson created some decent chances. Is why I've given him a 7. I think it was a pretty good outing for him, and I said in the preseason preview that he really needs to nail down his place, really get stuck into this preseason, because he's maybe in a little bit of limbo mode now with Nathan Patterson. He's getting towards that stage where do we make a decision on him to sell him, or can he be our starting right back? But I thought last night he really took his chance well, and a solid, decent, consistent performance throughout. So Nathan Patterson gets a 7 from me. Moving into the midfield now, we'll start with Tim Irabunam. I'm going to give him a 7. I think he showed good energy, progressive with the ball. He was really powerful in some of his strides forward, particularly towards the end of the game. I think he was very good at turning defence into attack at times. He's showing that he can be quite powerful in his running, moving forward with the ball. So I give Tim Irabunam a 7. I think there was a few things that maybe he could have created a little bit more and been a little bit less scrappy. But as I said at the start of the video, it's this first game of pre-season, so you have to take these performances with a little bit of a pinch of salt and just to see the players get rid of the rustiness. But his centre mid partner was James Garner. I'm going to give him a 6. It was maybe slightly worse than Tim Irabunam. Listen, James Garner, I think he showed decent energy, but he struggled really to create anything of note. And I think what Evertonians have been crying out for since James Garner joined the club was a little bit of creativity, and we saw it in flashes last season. I actually saw a clip this morning of his assist to Beto against Leicester towards the back end of last season. I think we want to see more of that from James Garner. As I said before, showed decent energy, but just lacked that little bit of creativity in the final third to really unlock the Accrington defence. So I'll give him a 6. Elsewhere in the midfield, moving a little bit further forward, he was playing as that sort of, I don't want to pin it as the Decore role, but he was playing in that number 10 role. He was central. It was Harrison Harrison Armstrong. Now, I think we've got a top player in Harrison Armstrong, and I'm going to give him a 7.5 last night. He was very unlucky not to score, in my opinion. Tested Ollie Wright in the Accrington goal a number of times. I thought Ollie Wright was fantastic in the Accrington goal as well, on loan from Southampton. I thought he was fantastic to deny us many times. But Harrison Armstrong, he's showing now that he can really be confident with the ball. What impressed me the most, being in that away and seeing how he was playing, he was always confident to come and ask for the ball. He never waited for the ball to come to him. He was always coming deep, moving wide. I think that was a really, really solid, strong performance and a real confident performance from Harrison Armstrong, which is why I've given him the 7.5. I think the loan spell that he had to Derby County for the back end of last season, I think it's worked wonders for him, because it's given him an air of confidence that means he can go to a team and really put himself about and ask for the ball and play intricate passes between his teammates. I think he's really showing that he has got all the minerals to be a top player. So Harrison Armstrong, a 7.5 for me last night. Unlucky not to score, but a decent performance for the first one in pre-season. Moving to the front three now, we'll start with Dwight McNeil, who played off the right-hand side, and I'm going to give Dwight McNeil a 6. I think he struggled to find his way into the game at times. Linked up well with Patterson, and that's probably why I would probably give Patterson a 7. It's why I did give him a 7, because I think Patterson's link-up play with McNeil was quite decent, but McNeil, I think he just struggled really to get into that game. It was good to see him obviously get some minutes after he had such a stop-start season last season, massively hampered by injury, but that's why I'm not being too harsh on Dwight McNeil, because he did have rotten luck towards the back end of last season in terms of injuries. So yeah, a 6 for me. Good to get the cobwebs off for Dwight McNeil, but maybe can we just see a little bit more and see him impose himself in games that we know he can do. But elsewhere, moving to the left-hand side, it was Carlos Alcaraz who started there, and I'm going to give him a 6. I would have given him a 7, but for his second half performance, I think he showed a little bit of rustiness in the second half, struggled to impose himself. But in the first half, I think he was really positive with his running, a bit similar to Tim Iroegbunam. Whenever he got the ball, he was always looking forward and trying to make strides forward, which is what you want to see from your attacking midfielders or your wingers. So I think it was a pretty decent performance from Carlos Alcaraz, but the reason I didn't give him a 7 is because he sort of tailed off towards the second half just before he was substituted. So that's probably why I won't stretch into a 7 there. So it's a 6 for Carlos Alcaraz for me. But moving to the number 9, it was Yusuf Chermiti who started the game, and I'm gonna give Yusuf Chermiti a 5.5, or do I bump him up to 6? No, I'll give him a 6. I'll give Yusuf Chermiti a 6, because that's probably a little bit harsh, because he has struggled obviously for consistent game time since he's joined Everton. So a 6 for Yusuf Chermiti. He tested the goalkeeper on a number of occasions. Obviously, as I said before, Ollie Wright in the Accrington goal was, he was massively equal to all of Yusuf Chermiti's shots. One really good diving header, which he was unlucky to not score from. But I think at times he struggled with the physicality of Accrington's defence. The Premier League is so different to League Two, and we know that. I think League Two is just such a physical league. It's very difficult to sort of put yourself about, and I think he maybe struggled a little bit with that at times, with the Accrington defenders roughing him up a little bit. But for me, I think now Yusuf Chermiti, he needs a loan towards the back end of this summer transfer window. I think we need to find him a suitable loan just to get him used to playing men's football, because he's not really played a great deal of men's football. Whenever he's had the opportunity to, he's had an injury, or he's struggled for full fitness. So I think for Yusuf Chermiti, it's now time for a loan and just to get him playing regular first team football, because at the moment he's third choice striker in a setup that plays one striker under David Moyes. So I think Yusuf Chermiti, let's get him out on loan. Let's try and develop him a little bit more, and hopefully he can come back, a bit more of the finished article, and can try and give Tieno Barry or Beto a run for their money. But moving to the substitutions now, and I did just touch on him there. It was Beto. He came on the 45th minute. I'm going to give Beto a 7.5. He scored an absolutely fantastic penalty towards the back end, but I think he just caused Accrington's defence a lot of issues, and it was a good run out for Beto, in my opinion. He was showing that he's not really lost that full fitness that he had towards the back end of last season. I think he's sort of picked up where he left off. I think he was powerful in his run. There was one sort of mazy run which I was quite surprised that he was actually able to pull off. He's not the most technical of players, Beto, but I think he was really powerful in his running, and he was strong, physical, and obviously, as I said before, scoring an absolutely fantastic penalty. Whacking it right into the top corner in front of the Evertonians behind that goal. It was just a fantastic penalty. So Beto gets a 7.5 for me, a decent run out for him, and hopefully he can build on that now and get a bit of consistency going. But elsewhere, William Tarman, a young obviously a young lad from the academy. He came on the 45th minute, replacing Vitaly Mikalenko. That's where I said Nathan Patterson went to left back and William Tarman went to right back. Now, I'm going to give William Tarman a 6 because I think he did some things well going forward. I think he looked, pretty assured going forward at times, but also I think in defence he looked a little bit nervous. But it's to be expected. He's a centre back playing right back, not to mention. So I think maybe David Moyes is toying with the idea of having him sort of in a Jake O'Brien role, for example. But I think what I've read, he is a natural centre back, so that's maybe why he looked a little bit nervous at times playing right back. But yeah, I think he had a fantastic debut. Showed why I think he is in the Everton academy. I think he was pretty decent. He was pretty assured, but as I said before, looked a little bit nervous at times. So definitely something to build on. He didn't make any huge mistakes or anything. So yeah, a six for me, a decent platform to build on, and hopefully we can see him get more game time in obviously the rest of the preseason games. But elsewhere to Jake O'Brien, he also came on the 45th minute and he went to centre back for Jared Branthwaite. I'd give Jake O'Brien a 6.5. He was relatively untested, did nothing wrong really. There was nothing really to say that Jake O'Brien made any mistakes or anything. I think it was just a relatively uneventful second half for Everton, but for their goal. So yeah, Jake O'Brien, not much to say really. I think he had a pretty decent run out just to get the cobwebs off those legs, and I'm going to give him a 6.5. But the two lads I'm going to bring up now, the two 64th minute substitutions, they were arguably my man of the matches, in my opinion. We'll start with Isaac Heath, who came on the 64th minute. He's going to get an 8 from me. He's going to be my man of the match. I thought he was fearless. He was positive in his running. He did so well to win the penalty, which I think was a fantastic bit of skill. But every time Isaac Heath got the ball, he looked like he could create something, which is something we've not seen from our wingers in a long, long time. So I think it was a really positive run out for Isaac Heath. Just a half an hour cameo, but he did enough to win the man of the match for me. So I'll give Isaac Heath an 8, and hopefully he can use that now as a platform to build on. But elsewhere, the other lad that I was talking about on the 64th minute who came on is Justin Clarke, young 16-year-old lad in the Everton Academy. I'm going to give him a 7.5, just below Isaac Heath, just because he didn't win that penalty. But same on the other side with Justin Clarke. He was so positive and so full of energy on that wing and was creating things that I've not seen from an Everton winger in so long. So fair play to them both, Isaac Heath and Justin Clarke. I think they were both fantastic when they came on. But as I said before, I'd maybe just edge out Isaac Heath ahead of Justin Clarke. So that's why I've give Heath an 8 and Justin Clarke a 7.5. But that is all for the player ratings today. Obviously, we've got the trip to Blackburn Rovers on Saturday, which no doubt is going to be an even tougher test. Obviously, we're moving up the divisions now, playing a championship side who will be looking to get one over on Everton. But yeah, as I said before, not going to read too much into the scoreline at the WAM Stadium, only drawing 1-1 with Accrington Stanley. I think it's just a good little run out to get the cobwebs off, and hopefully we can build on that now and hopefully get a result at Ewell Park on Saturday. But that is all from me today for the player ratings. Let me know your thoughts on my ratings. Have I been too harsh? Have I been too kind on people? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. But that is all from me today. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and I'll speak to you soon.